Michelle Reinen from DadCap joins us here on WRCO for some November topics. Let's, first of all, Michelle, talk about winter utility scams. 'Tis the season, right?
Absolutely. Wisconsin's annual winter heating disconnection moratorium began on November 1st. And this moratorium prevents utility providers from shutting off residents' essential heat services due to unpaid bills between November 1st of this year and April 15th of 2026. But despite this, consumers may still receive threatening calls and messages from scammers who are impersonating their utility providers, trying to pull off what we call a utility scam.
So how's a good way to spot that, Michelle?
Well, one of the best ways to spot it is to know the scam. What happens is that scammers send emails and make phone calls to consumers threatening to disconnect their services if they don't pay right away. The scammer may claim that the consumer missed payments, incorrectly filed documents, or made some other mistake that caused an issue. And some scammers even add highly specific but fictional details to their explanation to make it seem more real or legitimate, like making up work order numbers, billing statements, or tracking numbers. And the scammer's goal is to use these high-pressure tactics and make the consumers act out of fear before they can pause and think clearly about their request. So just remember that utility companies contact consumers through their official channels if their account is overdue. They're not going to demand immediate payment, and they can't shut off those heating services due to unpaid bills from November 1st until April 15th. And if a caller demands to be paid in a gift card or cryptocurrency or a banking app, wire transfer, that's a scam. That's not the form of payment a utility company wants to receive. So just disconnect on that call. And consumers who are unsure of the status of their account, they should just contact their utility provider. Don't listen to that call out of the blue. Instead, reach out to your utility provider using the contact information on the billing statement and find out what you can do to catch up or see if things are actually really behind or not.
Normally you would get notified by mail, wouldn't you?
That is the method that most utility companies in the state of Wisconsin use. It's a number of mailings that you usually receive, and then typically it could be a personal notification left on a doorstep, but it's not through phone calls in demands for immediate payments.
Well, let's move on to telecommunication imposters. What's up with that?
Well, recently we heard from a consumer who reported that they'd switched their cell phone provider and ordered a new phone from the company, then soon after encountered an imposter scam. And we want to get the message out with this one because we know we see a lot of new phone opportunities during this winter and holiday season. What happened is that after the new phone was shipped to the consumer, but before the consumer had actually activated the new phone, they received a phone call from someone claiming to be a representative from that new provider, and the caller said that they would help activate the new device over the phone call. This was really just a scammer impersonating the new provider, and they'd asked for what's called the IMEI number. This is the International Mobile Equipment Identity Number, and it's unique, a unique number assigned to each cell phone device during the manufacturing process. And if the consumer provides the number and then the caller asks for the consumer's account PIN number is what happened next, the consumer became really suspicious and started asking questions like, why do I need to give you the PIN number? And you called me, so why don't you know the PIN? But the customer realized this was all just a scam. However, by giving out that number, the consumer had accidentally placed themselves at risk because now the scammer had the number to that consumer's device, and they can be framed or look like they are acting as the consumer on different scams, misusing that information and hiding their identity behind that initial consumer. So treat that number like it's personally identifiable information unique to you, because it is, and don't hand that out. Be very leery of anyone calling asking for that, because that's a scam.
How do they initially get the person's number?
Well, that's something we're certainly working with the phone provider on to find out if this is random or if it was targeted to information through the provider. That we haven't been able to specifically identify at this point in time.
And then I wonder if somebody had your number before. I suppose that could happen too, couldn't it?
It could. I mean, what we found out from the provider is that similar scams sometimes end with the scammer telling these individuals that they need to send back their phone for a replacement. But if a consumer follows that instruction, they end up sending the phone to the scammer instead. In this one case from this consumer, they spent several days contacting the real cell phone provider customer support staff to replace the phone. And a day after getting that replacement device, they got another phone call from the same scammer. So that's why we're working with the provider to figure out how they know to contact the individuals. But you need to keep this information to yourself, regardless of what provider you use, because we don't know how the systems are being manipulated, and scammers just shouldn't have that information about consumers. Keep that IMEI number to yourself.
We've all heard, or we actually have seen, the ads about selling a timeshare. Can you give us an update on that, Michelle?
Well, I can tell you it's not as easy as some ads may make it appear to be. But if you are thinking about selling a timeshare, you might get excited to see an ad or an online notification about a quick and easy sale. Unfortunately, you need to be very careful and cautious about these resale companies because some are fraudulent. As I stated, it can be difficult, which gives scammers an opportunity to take advantage of sellers. And some dishonest businesses may claim that they can easily sell a timeshare on an owner's behalf because they already have interested buyers lined up. They often ask for money up front to cover taxes or closing costs, which they promise will be refunded later. But in reality, there are no buyers, and if the timeshare owner pays, they'll likely lose all of that money. And any timeshare owner who pays for help in selling their timeshare often receives excuses why the sale is delayed. We've certainly seen a lot of that over time. And the business will try to convince the owner to keep paying and gives all sorts of excuses like we need to pay lawyer fees or this payment's here to complete the sale. But the owners, when they ask for that refund, they just won't receive one. So try and stay protected from this by researching any timeshare resale company or individual named online. Search that company or individual with the word scam, review, and see what information's out there. But remember that positive reviews can be faked, so you need to really balance those. Ask about fees up front. Consider dealing with companies that take their fees after the timeshare is sold and not before. And always get everything in writing before you pay and or sign any documentation. You want to be sure you've read through everything and understand the details.
Let's talk about data breaches, because we once in a while are affected by that or get a message that we've been maybe hacked or whatever. What can you tell us about that?
Well, there have been a number of large-scale data breaches, and we know that those have potentially impacted billions of online accounts. So a data breach happens when that information, your personal information, which is supposed to be kept secure, has been compromised and has the potential to be accessed by unauthorized users. And they can result from bugs in software, mistakes by an authorized user, or just a targeted cyber attack designed to steal data. So if you receive a data breach notification, usually a letter, sometimes an email, do research to verify that the breach actually has happened. You can rely on media resources, going directly to a company's website, and maybe DadCap will have the information posted as well. But find out more information about the breach from the company, so you can then decide if you want to take advantage of any free credit monitoring services that they might offer. And that's going to depend on which type of data has been accessed or released during the breach. Monitor your credit report for any issues and take actions if any issues are identified. You can place a fraud alert on credit reports with any one of the 3 major credit reporting agencies to be notified of any activity. And then there's always the great tool that you can place at any time. You don't need to wait for a breach, of placing a security freeze on your credit report with each of the 3 credit reporting agencies to lock down activity so someone can't manipulate your information.
And this fall, we heard about Amazon giving back some money that was owed. What can you tell us about that?
Well, in September, Amazon agreed to pay $2.5 billion to settle a Federal Trade Commission's charges that it enrolled millions of people in Prime subscriptions without consent. And then they made it difficult for those Prime subscribers to cancel their plans. But of that total amount, $1.5 billion is being returned to consumers who may be wondering how they're going to receive it, who's receiving it, and what they need to do. And so consumers may be eligible for a refund of up to $51 if they are based in the United States, use less than 3 Prime benefits in any 12-month period after enrolling in Prime, and began their Prime membership through specific enrollment flows, or unsuccessfully tried to cancel their Prime membership between June 23 of 2019 and June 23 of 2025. And all the refunds are going to be automatic. They'll be sent by Amazon by December 25th of this year. And if people have questions, they can find more information at ftc.gov/Amazon.
So it is that time frame, you said June of 2019 through June of this year. Then if it happened before that, you're probably out of luck?
Yes. The lawsuit was dealing with that time period and the Prime benefits, because that's when that marketing was happening, and they made it difficult for the people to unsubscribe or cancel their plans.
What do you tell us about consumer protection plans for the holiday toolkit?
Yeah, this is exciting for us here at DadCap. We've launched our latest consumer protection outreach toolkit. This toolkit will provide educational and fun materials to help community groups, businesses, classrooms, and other organizations teach their audiences about consumer protection issues that are common during the holiday season. So think things like holiday scams, online shopping, charity fraud, toy safety, and there's just so many other options there. But all the DadCap consumer protection toolkits that we have can be found at dadcapoutreachtoolkit.wi.gov. And these toolkits include presentations, a presenter guide, promotional posters, games and activities, newsletter article templates that can be used by the groups without giving a presentation, infographics, and then different resource links on those topics as well. And it's a way to help get the message out. And we're also available to give the presentations if groups don't want to give them themselves.
It's hard to believe that we're talking about the holidays, and I think the next time we talk, Michelle, there will be lots of tips to stay safe during the holiday, won't there?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to have a whole bunch of information on the things to watch out for this year. That will be specific messaging that we do in anticipation of the holidays, but I know people are already asking for holiday lists from friends and family members, and the shopping has begun probably all the way back in July, so we want to make sure that we have messaging out there as well to make sure people can stay safe this holiday season.
Well, we appreciate the service that you provide and joining us each and every month. If somebody is interested in anything that we talked about today, how's the best way to contact your organization?
You can go to our website at datcp.wi.gov, or you can call the Consumer Protection Hotline at 1-800-422-7128.
Great. Administrator with DADCAP, Michelle Reinen, joining us here on WRCO. Have a great month, Michelle.
You too.